shedding light on a broader issue of equity and civil rights within the area, but also within the broader South. Moving forward, we then have the kind of creation of two non-regulation sized basketball courts on the site, which really kind of shaped it into what it is today. These are the most active features of the park. They're really used by intergenerational families and kind of a highlight of the local community. We then have the integration of schools within Mississippi, but especially within Eupora. We have the integration of the public schools in the 1970s. Moving forward from there, we have the renovations of the park today in 2025, but we also have the tax in 2023, which was added to kind of fund these public works for Eupora. So that kind of concludes the historical analysis. Moving forward with the background, so understanding Mississippi and then a local context as Webster County, Eupora, and then moving towards North Gifford Street. Then we have zoning and land use. So kind of understanding that the park itself is surrounded by R2 residential zones, as well as a few commercial zones to the west, and then a public zone, which is the elementary school located directly to the east of the site. Moving forward from there, I kind of looked at SWOT analysis, so understanding the different strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the site. For strengths, I really thought that the clear cut of the site was an opportunity and a strength for the site. It's this fresh, empty canvas, if you will, for development, but also its location. It's located surrounded by residential zones as well as surrounded and across from the local elementary school. So I found those to be really core strengths of the site. Moving forward to weaknesses, the site is kind of, while it's surrounded by a lot of these things, it's also isolated. There are these natural edge conditions due to the woodlands that kind of isolate the site, as well as a physical barrier to the northeast of the site from the residential zones, and then we also have a physical barrier to the southwest due to the school's fencing. So those were kind of some weaknesses, because while it isn't a prominent location for the community, it's also cut off and isolated. There's also improper drainage on the site due to the clear cut. There's a berm formed at the south of the site where the creek is located that kind of blocks that watershed from flowing into the creek and back into the broader watershed of Eupora, Mississippi. Moving on to opportunities, I find that the clear cut of the site is a really prime opportunity for development, as well as the location. It's surrounded by all these prominent features of the community, and I think it's a real prime opportunity for us as designers to kind of lock into and kind of provide a really awesome opportunity for the community. On to threats, I feel like while the natural barriers are a really awesome thing for the site, they also serve as an isolation feature. They kind of isolate the site, and there's not a lot of eyes on the street, if you will, which can lead to a lot of safety concerns. And I feel like that's what we've seen so far with the hesitation of, when we spoke with community members, their ideas were this idea that the city had not done anything because they were scared that it was going to be broken. But moving forward, if we break it, we fix it. So that's kind of the threat, but the city and community members see it as an opportunity to build more. Moving on from there, I kind of looked at a regional context. Here along the bottom, I looked at the feeding ground to kind of understand the urban density of Eupora, but also specifically around the site. And then I also looked at primary arteries within Eupora. I found two